This man, just because he doesn't make money, is often abused by his wife, and yet, no matter how much his wife criticized and despised him, he never got angry. Even though his wife usually treats him quite aggressively, every time he goes out she still gives him some living expenses. Who would have thought that this seemingly incompetent, parasitic man with his wife was once the most evil agent of the intelligence department? His name is Ah-jun, the evil agent of the Korean National Intelligence Service. He is like lightning in the dark night, always destroying enemies quickly and accurately, not only scaring criminals. Jun is also an idol admired by many colleagues, and yet, this person seems like a god, but deep in his heart he holds the dream of becoming a comic artist. Jun was blind and orphaned at a young age, in a helpless situation. Under the strict guidance of the evil trainer Deokju, Jun has honed extraordinary skills as his years as an agent, even though they brought him fame, also made him physically and mentally mischievous. He longs to escape this life full of murder and danger to pursue peace and his own dream. Therefore, during a mission, Jun staged an extremely elaborate fake death. When skydiving, he pretended to forget to bring a parachute. Ah-jun fooled everyone. The country held a solemn ceremony for him and the captain cried bitterly. Meanwhile, Jun was enjoying the joy of freedom in the ocean. After successfully pretending to be dead, he went into hiding and began to devote himself wholeheartedly to creating comics. But reality was cruel and tried to give him a severe blow after 15 years of hard work. Not only did no one pay attention to his comics, but he was also mercilessly ridiculed by netizens. He was even sarcastically called the most useless loser of the century. So he secretly registered a secondary account, but his shyness was immediately discovered by observant netizens. However, his daughter still wholeheartedly supports her father in persistently composing. Moreover, he also suggested that he try to put his own experiences into the comic. The editor-in-chief was scolded by readers for publishing his work, and in the end he had to outright cancel the publication of the story. He begged the editor-in-chief for another chance but was cruelly refused. Ah-jun was completely panicked. An agent who used to call the wind and rain like him was now mired in the mud of life. Facing the pressure of life, he had to temporarily put his dream on hold to go to the construction site to work as a laborer. The contractor saw that he was gentle and easy to bully, so he ignored his orders and continued to cause trouble. But he didn't know that this useless guy was actually a super agent. It's true that the tiger didn't roar and thought it was Hello Kitty. He hugged his stomach angrily and crawled home and drank wine alone for a long time. Thinking about it, he realized that he was really miserable. A man of pride, yet he couldn't even buy his daughter the electric keyboard she wanted. At this moment, the TV shows a news report. An artist who not only paid off his debt but also bought a house and car just by publishing comics, looked at the screen full of curses aimed at him. Someone even advised him to go sweep the trash, but he couldn't bear it anymore. How could a top agent be ridiculed like this? In anger, he destroyed all the old works on the table. Deciding to follow his daughter's advice to redraw his own story, starting the journey backwards, the alcohol rose. He held the pen and drew rapidly. When inspired by the people's readings, he couldn't help but throw a few punches and kicks. But when he woke up the next morning, he saw that his wife had become a different person. Not only did she say sweet words, but she also prepared a table of sumptuous food. Jun was bewildered and didn't understand what was going on. It turned out that while he was sleeping, his wife posted all of his works online, unexpectedly receiving enthusiastic praise. Netizens competed to like each other. Jun panicked and thought that this was the end of his life, because the works he drew were all recreations of his own real-life experiences. The information is classified as a national secret. Once exposed, not only will the fake death story be exposed, but it may even be pursued by enemies. He quickly ran to the company to ask the editor-in-chief to take down the work, explaining that he posted it by mistake because he was drunk. But the editor-in-chief said that after raising this useless thing for 15 years, he finally had a work that caused a stir. There's no way to take it down. If being drunk can create inspiration, then you won't be able to go home and continue drinking. Having no choice, Jun had to go home first, but halfway there, it started to rain. He suddenly remembered that his daughter didn't have an umbrella, so he used a tattered umbrella and went to the school gate to wait for her daughter to finish school. Who would have thought that he would see his daughter preparing to get into a luxury car belonging to a classmate's house? Seeing people's fathers wearing neat suits, their children still have to rely on the money their wives give them. He couldn't help but feel disappointed. When he got home, he accidentally read his daughter's diary. It was written that because her father was so poor, her mother had to borrow alcohol to relieve her sadness. She wanted to try to earn money to help her father pay off his debt and buy him a big house. He was originally a strong person, but he couldn't hold back his tears when reading his son's words. So that his wife and children could have a better life, he decided to fight hard. Arjun continued to put his experiences into comics. This time he put down his pen as if he had divine help, no longer having to rack his brain to think of details but just expressing what he had experienced. Very quickly, he created vivid comic characters and thrilling storylines. As expected, the newly posted work was loved by many netizens, especially students. His daughter was extremely proud. Even the contractor who once bullied him became his fan, and the editor-in-chief who previously looked down on him now had to look at him with different eyes. The family's economic conditions also improved. The daughter finally got her dream electronic guitar, but the popularity of the series finally attracted the attention of the intelligence department. Because in Ah-jun's story, not only do the details closely resemble real cases, but even the names of many agents are the same. Isn't this famous as Jun faking his death and using comics to sell national secrets? So the director immediately decided to arrest Jun first and think about it later. At the same time, at a construction site, the contractor with a high-faced face scolded Jun for not only working slowly but, importantly, also being lazy. Just as the warden was blabbing, a group of agents suddenly arrived. As a top agent, Jun immediately knew at a glance that these people did not have good intentions. He quickly ran to the bathroom and saw that the other person had recognized his identity, so he didn't bother pretending anymore. Even though he hadn't acted for many years, his skills were still as sharp as ever, and soon dozens of agents were easily defeated. The contractor standing next to him was so scared that he peed his pants. He didn't expect that a normally gentle and simple person would suddenly become so brutal. June saw that and immediately hung the contractor until he peed his pants. After learning that his identity had been revealed, he quickly went home to pack his luggage and called to confess his identity as a special agent to his wife. He also told her to quickly return and run away together. But his wife only thought he was drunk and was talking nonsense. Thinking her husband was drunk and talking nonsense, she hung up the phone bluntly. June knew for a moment that he couldn't explain clearly. So I quickly rummaged through my belongings, preparing to take the money from the slush fund and run away first. Who was afraid that the amount of slush fund money saved for 15 years to buy kimchi is not enough. At this time, a smoke bomb was thrown in. June quickly used a clothespin as a gas mask. Several special police officers broke the window and rushed in. This group is clearly much more professional. After a while of fighting, June easily handled the two men. But the last guy was able to duel on equal terms with him, until the opponent took off his helmet to reveal his handsome face. June just realized that this agent is his #1 fanboy. Achiel has admired June since childhood. Always take him as an example and dream of one day being like him and becoming a top agent. During the ceremony that year, Achiel was also the one who cried the most. Before the two had time to review the past, the director did not play nice and suddenly attacked from behind. At the same time, the PO criminal that June once arrested based on information in the comic came to the publisher. He also injured June's colleague and asked for his home address. It turns out June was lazy to think, so he drew the criminal's appearance directly into the comic. Elsewhere, June was taken to the intelligence department. Although he tried to explain that the comic was just an accident, he insisted that he had not sold out anything, but the director did not believe him. He insisted that because he couldn't stand the situation of being a freeloader and being looked down upon, he chose to collude with criminals who sold national secrets in exchange for wealth. The captain was both angry and resentful, not only because he faked his death and deceived everyone, but also because he revealed the secret of the story. He asked you why you lied to him when I considered you as my own son. The two argued and no one was willing to give in. Only June believed that he was innocent and secretly gave him the phone. June immediately used the phone to call his wife, who was on the other end of the line. His wife was cornered by Sang-pyo. Sang-pyo asked June to bring the captain to meet him within 20 minutes. Otherwise, every 5 minutes he will cut off one of your wife's fingers. Sang-pyo hates June so much because 15 years ago they captured Sang-pyo but let him escape. Later, he arrested his younger brother, Sang-gu, who did not expect that during the interrogation. Something went wrong. Sang-gu was electrocuted and died on the spot. But his death was not unjust because he killed dozens of people. June's heart felt like it was on fire right now. Knowing that the other person is coming to seek revenge will certainly not be easily overlooked. But how to quickly escape from here to save his wife became a long-standing problem. His brain started working at full capacity. He remembered that the captain was a smoker, so he wanted to ask him for a cigarette. After smoking, I will tell you all the secret. The deceived captain immediately sat down. June took advantage of the captain not paying attention and suddenly attacked the captain. Then quickly used a ballpoint pen to open the handcuffs and leg cuffs. Next, the support team rushed in. He immediately took the captain hostage and let him escape. The director was extremely angry when he saw that, but he had to let June lead him away. But if the director of the intelligence department let that happen, he wouldn't have any face. He immediately and frantically ordered his subordinates to capture June's daughter. Prepare to control June's child to force him to submit. This type of intelligence agency is no different from terrorists. On the other hand, after June controlled the captain, he immediately turned off his phone to prevent the opponent from locating it through his phone and asked the captain to hand over his phone, but the ghost captain told him he didn't have his phone with him. June scrolled down looking a bit unconvinced. After a while, it was indeed not there. Not long after, the chief captured June's daughter because he could not contact him, so the crazy man called the captain. He used his daughter's life to threaten June, forcing him to quickly confess. The scene of June on the phone is really easy to make others misunderstand. June also fell into a dilemma at this time. One side is the marriage certificate and the other side is the birth certificate. June knows full well that the darkness of the Korean intelligence agency is a virtuous thing that anyone would dare to do. As for Sang-pyo, he is even more of an immoral and dishonest son of a bitch. He saw his husband coming to save him alone. Mina was extremely moved in her heart. She screamed, "Husband, please stop, just leave me alone." But the next second June turned the car around, causing Mina to completely freeze. "This lady is being polite to you, but you really run away?" Sang-pyo, standing next to him, also sniffed. "After all, I'm a robber baron and you still don't respect me? Do you believe I will impale your wife right now?" June quickly explained. "I absolutely do not mean to disrespect you. I just rushed to save my daughter first and then come back to apologize to you later." Sang-pyo was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Luckily, Achiel felt bad on the other side, so he secretly used a trick to take June's child out. Upon receiving this news, June quickly ran over. As soon as the two met, Achiel immediately raised his gun and told June to turn himself in. As a result, his daughter told him that June always considered him as his younger brother. "Uncle, please forgive my father because he is really not a snake. Have you ever seen such an incompetent snake? I don't have enough money to buy a piece of bread, and I always have to ask my mother for money. My father didn't know what to do other than draw comics. When he got a part-time job, he got sick, and when he came home, his mother assaulted him. I beg you to please forgive my father." June quickly told her to stop talking. "This is clearly exposing all my embarrassing secrets, not asking for forgiveness." Luckily, the misunderstanding was finally cleared up. The three of you decided to join forces to save Mina. Please untie me. Jun leads the two to the previous safe house. Looking at the room full of weapons, the captain was also stunned. Looks like he already had some preparations. The three people finished choosing their weapons and prepared for action. 3 adults and 1 child were preparing to leave, but they didn't expect the director to lead someone to chase them. Jun saw that and immediately turned around and punched Troy and fell to the ground. He wanted to act so as not to affect Troy's work. It's just an act, do we need to be so harsh? After making a Troy faint, Jun and the captain went to Pio's place. Please bring your wife home immediately. She drinks better than any of us. Mina walked out drunk. Jun saw this and was about to run away but was beaten like a child by the henchman. Seeing her husband being bullied, she immediately went to his rescue. One by one they were defeated by her. Anyone who doesn't know would think she's a spy. But actually it's all just Mina's imagination. This girl is an alcoholic. After seeing Jun suddenly turned his head. I thought this guy was greedy for life and afraid of death. So in anger, he secretly drank the precious bottle of wine and went to Pio to keep it for many years. Sang Pio angrily scolded him. My younger brother was killed by you guys. Your wife has already drunk the precious bottle of wine that I kept for many years. I must take cruel revenge on you and your husband. So he subjected Jun and the captain to the same electrocution punishment as his younger brother. Fisherman captain. What does it have to do with me if you take revenge on him and his wife? But the Pio doesn't care. He insisted that Jun personally treat the captain with electricity. Then Pio decided to personally burn them all alive to avenge his brother. Just in time of danger, the director led a large army to arrive promptly. The two sides broke out due to fierce fighting. The army's firepower was quickly suppressed. Soon the director was able to control the situation. But he always believed that Jun was a traitor who sold out national secrets. No matter how Jun and everyone explained, he still insisted on killing Jun on the spot. Just as the bullet was fired, Jun rushed out to block the bullet. Looking at Jun dying in his arms, Jun was in extreme pain. Wake up, my brother. Suddenly the agents next to the director collapsed one after another. It turned out that a subordinate of Sang Pio took advantage of their civil war and occupied a high position. Jun intends to counterattack. Unexpectedly, Sang Pio took the opportunity to shoot several times in a row. Seeing an idol indirectly killed by his own people, Achiol couldn't think much but cursed directly at the director's face. Damn it, what kind of commander is that? You must have spent money to buy this director's position, right? The director also got angry when he heard that. That's how you talk to your boss, kid. The captain saw this and quickly made peace. The director at this time was cursed until his face turned red. During the chaos, Jun suddenly stood up and fired a shot, exploding the gas tank in the distance. It turned out that he was wearing 2 layers of bulletproof vest, originally prepared for his wife and children, but before he could give it to them, he saved his life. The captain decided to take advantage of the chaos to save Mina and her child first. The result was blocked at the right time. After all, the captain sits in the office for too long, so a duel is definitely not a match. Had to use the most cruel method to take down the henchman. Elsewhere, Sang Pio saw that the situation was not good and immediately hid in the room. Jun gives chase, so the two engage in close combat. Jun faced Sang Pio barehanded without faltering. I beat him from home to school. Not long after, he threw a kick that sent him flying downwards. Mission completed, Jun retired with dignity and continued his career as a comic creator. As for A, he plays as well as wishes to become a new generation evil agent. Since Jun's wife learned that he was a special agent, she also became respectful of him. Girls see that and are also proud of their friends. Today's story comes to an end. See you at the next movies.